From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Diane Parker. Miller has our Wednesday forecast plus election issues in Kalispell, the very latest. But first, our top story. Another big announcement on Montana's political scene as yet another prominent Montana Republican officially jumping into the race for the Eastern Congressional District House seat currently held by Matt Rosendale. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Elsie Arnson officially filing yesterday promising to focus on border security. She joins a crowded field of 10 candidates, which is likely to include Rosendale. Any military veteran exposed to toxic chemicals can start receiving benefits through the PACT Act starting next week. Initially, the plan was to phase in eligibility over time. Now, anyone who served in the Vietnam War, Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, or in combat zones after 9/11 can enroll directly in VA healthcare March 5th. VA leaders say this means millions more veterans will be able to enroll up to 8 years ahead of schedule. More than 500,000 veterans have enrolled in health care since the PACT Act became law. Another scam alert, this one from the Montana Office of Consumer Protection about a cryptocurrency scam targeting businesses. Scammers are specifically targeting people and businesses that took out Paycheck Protection loans or PPP loans during the pandemic using publicly available information like the business name, loan amount, and lender. Scammers attempt to trick their target into making payments with cryptocurrency to lift warrants for non-payments of loans, when in reality, most of those loans have been forgiven. If a payment is made through crypto, for example, by using a Bitcoin ATM, the money is irretrievable. OCP says law enforcement and government agencies will never contact Montanans asking for money in order to lift a warrant. Devastating news out of northwest Montana as a fire in Knox destroyed several businesses Tuesday morning. MTN's Emily Brown and Claire Peterson have the very latest from the small town.
Behind me, 3 buildings in Knox are completely burned.
I think I got the page somewhere around 5:30, 5:45. Angry Beaver was engulfed, so on the way here I paged out Heron Fire, and I knew I'd better page out Trout Creek because these buildings are way too old and way too close.
Sanders County Sheriff tells me the fire originated in the Angry Beaver. That general store was built in 1905. The fire quickly spread to Toby's Tavern, another building from the early 1900s. Then the Knoxon Mercantile was also ablaze.
Sucks, because we have nothing now. We got a hardware store and that's it. And that was the only grocery store. And the bar, that was all the old timers, the local hangout. Now we have to go to Trout Creek or pretty much Idaho.
The 3 buildings destroyed by the fire will now cause Knoxon locals to be without a community hub and force longer driving times to get groceries, a meal, or other items.
I never thought it could happen, especially this close to already just losing the restaurant and bar, 5 miles up the road, and then this happens. It's pretty rough.
The 3 fire crews spent all day on scene working to get the blazes out. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. As we get more information, we'll keep you updated. In Knoxon, Emily Brown, MTN News.
The Utah-based company that submitted a permit for a project at Holland Lake Lodge near Seeley Lake has withdrawn its request. On Friday, Flathead National Forest officials reported they had accepted the withdrawal of a special use permit application submitted by Powder to manage the Holland Lake Lodge facilities. Lodge owner Christian Woolfield now holds the controlling interest in the lodge. Powder's withdrawal means Woolfield's 2017 special use permit remains in effect with no modification or proposal for a new master plan. An unseasonable warm winter is leaving snowmobiles parked at local dealerships. The sales manager at the Billings Base Camp tells us they've hardly made a dent in their annual load of sleds, which they buy a year in advance. While a lack of snow is a huge factor, we're also learning interest in the sport could be waning. According to the International Snowmobile Manufacturers Association, last winter's sales dropped nearly 5% worldwide to only about 125,000 units.
So you're guessing how many you're going to need, and the last thing you want to do is run out if you got a great snow year. Well, this year we got lots of sleds and no snow.
The base camp plans to offer deals soon to clear out the nearly 20 sleds left on their lot. And that's a look at some of the day's top stories.
Take a look at our local forecast coming up. Really the big story the next couple of days, the winds very, very strong. And down around the Livingston area, we've had gusts near 80 miles an hour already today, and this is going to last, at least a chance of it, all the way through tomorrow evening. That's ahead of our next storm system that's coming in, giving us rain and snow and another cool down. More on that coming up. But first, what's going on across the U.S. today? Parts of the Cascades, northern Intermountain region, northern California, the Sierra Nevada mountains, heavy snowfalls possible. Great Lakes, Central Appalachians, the Northeast, light to moderate snow. And the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states, you can see there's a chance of severe storms today from just north of Atlanta all the way up into Boston possible today. All right, there you go. The winds up and down the front there. Yeah, very strong winds. Again, gust over 70 miles an hour. Some areas already flirting with 80 miles an hour already. We'll take a look at that and our next potential storm system coming in here in just a bit.
Continuing coverage on the Kalispell city election, about 8% of city voters received the wrong ballot in November, and the court has now decided what happens next. MTN's Kiana Wilson reports.
A ruling has been made by a Flathead County judge to nullify 2 of the 4 city council elections following incorrect ballot distribution during the election in November. However, there are still many unanswered questions. On February 16th, a judge ruled to nullify the results for the election of city councilors for Ward 1 and 2.
So we're right now working with the county attorney's office and their elections department as they're trying to work with the courts to get some clarification on what exactly that means for our current sitting council members.
While the city is trying to navigate this unprecedented issue, the 2 city councilors who were affected by the ruling recused themselves from voting at the last city council meeting.
They did step down from the dais last Monday when we got the initial results. We just didn't want to put anything in jeopardy in terms of any decisions. But for right now, as far as we're concerned, they're still active council members, but we do appreciate their awareness of the situation to not participate in any votes last week. And I think that's just the appropriate action to take while we're waiting for that clarification from the courts.
The Flathead County Elections Office does not know when the re-election will take place. The city is hoping for more legal guidance and information on how to proceed before the next city council meeting on Monday.
Well, you know, it's an innocent circumstance that we're just dealing with, and you know, the best thing we can do is just act on the information we have and just take the next step we can when we have the ability to and have the information to support it. So definitely a novel situation. I've not heard of this circumstance occurring before, but again, we sometimes face novel situations and circumstances, and we just act on the best information we have and just continue progressing forward.
The councilors for Ward 1 and 2 are waiting to hear from the courts before deciding if they will vote at the next city council meeting. We will continue to monitor this story for any developments preceding the meeting. In Kalispell, Kiana Wilson, MTN News.